Hello everybody, it's Swanmead. Right, well I've come on here to read a story for my Year 7s, which we're going to be studying this half term, but obviously everybody's welcome to listen to it if they want to. Now, we've got Neil Gaiman's Coraline here, which, as you know, is the book that we're going to be looking at. And you've got a little bit of research to do about Neil Gaiman this week, and you've also got the text to read yourself, which is chapter 1. But I did say that I would pop up on YouTube me reading it too, just to help out if needs be. Okay, so here we go with that. You can see on the front cover that it's this book is a Carnegie Medal winner, the author. Not the he didn't illustrate it, by the way, that's somebody else. But yeah, so Neil Gaiman won an award for this book, and in your research you are asked to look at the possibility that he might have done that, so you can add that to your information. Now, the synopsis on the back. We call it the blurb often in class, don't we? So we've got at the top, it says, sometimes a door is closed for a very good reason. The mystery starts. There is something strange about Coraline's new home. It's not the mist or the cat that always seems to be watching her, nor the signs of danger that Miss Spink and Miss Forcible, her new neighbours, read in the tea leaves. It's the other house, the one behind the old door in the drawing room. Another mother and father with black button eyes and papery skin are waiting for Coraline to join them there, and they want her to stay with them forever. She knows that if she ventures through that door, she may never come back. Oh dear. Right, so by reading that, you'll know what we're heading into is going to be a bit mysterious, maybe a bit spooky, maybe a bit scary at times. Now, while I'm reading, I can't keep going back to the beginning and starting filming myself again if I make a little mistake. So please forgive me if I do. All right, I'll try not to. But also there's some pictures in the book as we go along. You can see the one on the front cover, of course. Now, that doesn't necessarily give away any of the potential spookiness of the story. Maybe the black cat might, and Coraline dressing in black. And there's a little picture, here we go. And it said under that picture, Coraline, who was standing in the doorway, cast a huge, distorted shadow. So I'm going to kind of read like this, so you'll see the book and myself. Hopefully see my lips, because I know it's tricky to listen sometimes when you can't see somebody's face. So I'll try and make sure that you can. Okay? Like I say, please excuse any mistakes I might make. Chapter 1. Coraline discovered the door a little while after they moved into the house. It was a very old house. It had an attic under the roof and a cellar under the ground and an overgrown garden with huge old trees in it. Coraline's family didn't own all of the house. It was too big for that. Instead, they owned part of it. There were other people who lived in the old house. Miss Spink and Miss Forcible lived in the flat below Coraline's on the ground floor. They were both old and round, and they lived in their flat with a number of ageing Highland terriers who had names like Hamish and Andrew and Jock. Once upon a time, Miss Spink and Miss Forcible had been actresses, as Miss Spink told Coraline for the first time when she met her. You see, Caroline, Miss Spink said, getting Coraline's name wrong, both myself and Miss Forcible were famous actresses in our time. We trod the boards, lovey. Oh, don't let Hamish eat the fruit cake, or he'll be up all night with his tummy. It's Coraline, not Caroline. Coraline, said Coraline. In the flat above Coraline's, under the roof, was a crazy old man with a big moustache. He told Coraline he was training a mouse circus. He wouldn't let anybody see it. One day, little Caroline, when they're all ready, everyone in the whole world will see the wonders of my mouse circus. You ask me why you cannot see it now. Is that what you asked me? No, said Coraline quietly. I asked you not to call me Caroline. It's Coraline. The reason you cannot see the mouse circus, said the man upstairs, is that the mice are not yet ready and rehearsed. Also, they refuse to play the songs I've written for them. All the songs I've written for the mice to play go oompa, oompa, but the white mice will only play toodle-doodle. Like that. I'm thinking of trying them on different types of cheese. Coraline didn't think there really was a mouse circus. She thought the old man was probably making it up. The day after they moved in, Coraline went exploring. She explored the garden. It was a big garden. At the very back was an old tennis court, but no one in the house played tennis, and the fence around the court had holes in it, and the net had mostly rotted away. There was an old rose garden filled with stunted, fly-blown rose bushes. There was a rockery that was all rocks. There was a fairy ring made of squidgy brown toadstools, which smelled dreadful if you accidentally trod on them. There was also a well. On the first day Coraline's family moved in, Miss Spink and Miss Forcible made a point of telling Coraline how dangerous the well was, and they warned her to be sure she kept away from it. So Coraline set off to explore it, so that she knew where it was and to keep away from it properly. She found it on the third day in an overgrown meadow beside the tennis court, behind a clump of trees, a low brick circle almost hidden in the high grass. The well had been covered over by the wooden boards to stop anyone falling in. There was a small knot hole in one of the boards, and Coraline spent an afternoon dropping pebbles and acorns through the hole and waiting and counting till she heard a plop as they hit the water far below. Coraline also explored for animals. She found a hedgehog and a snakeskin, but no snake, and a rock that looked just like a frog, and a toad that looked just like a rock. There was also a haughty black cat who would sit on walls and tree stumps and watch her, but would slip away if ever she went over to try and play with it. That was how she spent her first 2 weeks at the house, exploring the garden and the grounds. Her mother made her come back inside for dinner and for lunch, and Coraline had to make sure she dressed up warmly before she went out. For it was very cold summer that year. But go out she did, exploring every day until the day it rained. Then Coraline had to stay inside. "What should I do?" asked Coraline. "Read a book," said her mother. "Watch a video. Play with your toys. Go and pester Miss Spink or Miss Forcible, or the crazy old man upstairs." "No," said Coraline. "I don't want to do those things. I want to explore." "I don't really mind what you do," said Coraline's mother, "as long as you don't make a mess." Coraline went over to the window and watched the rain come down. It wasn't the kind of rain you could go out in. It was the other kind, the kind that threw itself down from the sky and splashed where it landed. It was rain that meant business, and currently its business was turning the garden into a muddy, wet soup. Coraline had watched all the videos. She was bored with her toys and she'd read all her books. She turned on the television. She went from channel to channel to channel, but there was nothing on but men in suits talking about the stock market and sports programmes. Eventually she found something to watch. It was the last half of a natural history programme about something called protective coloration. She watched animals, birds and insects which disguised themselves as leaves or twigs, or other animals to escape from things that could hurt them. She enjoyed it, but it ended too soon and was followed by a programme about a cake factory. It was time to talk to her father. Coraline's father was home. Both of her parents worked, doing things on computers, which meant that they were home a lot of the time. Each of them had their own study. "Hello, Coraline," he said, when she came in without turning round. Said Coraline. "It's raining." "Yep," said her father. "It's bucketing down." "No," said Coraline, "it's just raining. Can I go outside?" "What does your mother say?" "She says you're not going out in weather like this, Coraline Jones." "Well then, no." "But I want to carry on exploring." "Well then, explore the flat," suggested her father. "Look, here's a piece of paper and a pen. Count all the doors and windows, list everything blue, mount an expedition to discover the hot water tank, and leave me alone to work." "Can I go into the drawing room?" The drawing room was where the Joneses kept the expensive and uncomfortable furniture Coraline's grandmother had left them when she died. Coraline wasn't allowed in there. Nobody went in there. It was only for best. If you don't make a mess and you don't touch anything. Coraline considered this carefully, and then she took the paper and pen and went off to explore the inside of the flat. She discovered the hot water tank. It was in the cupboard in the kitchen. She counted everything blue, 153. She counted the windows, 21 of those, and the doors, 14 of those. Of the doors that she found, 13 opened and closed. The other, the big carved brown wooden door at the far corner of the drawing room, was locked. She said to her mother, "Where does that door go?" "Nowhere, dear." "Well, it has to go somewhere." Her mother shook her head. "Look," she told Coraline. She reached up and took a string of keys from the top of the kitchen door frame. She sorted through them carefully and selected the oldest, biggest, blackest, rustiest key. They went into the drawing room and she unlocked the door with the key. The door swung open. Her mother was right. The door didn't go anywhere. It opened onto a brick wall. "When this place was just one house," said Coraline's mother, "that door went somewhere. When they turned the house into flats, they simply bricked it up. The other side is the empty flat on the other side of the house, the one that's still for sale." She shut the door and put the string of keys back on top of the kitchen door frame. "You didn't lock it," said Coraline. Her mother shrugged. "Why should I lock it? It doesn't go anywhere." Coraline didn't say anything. It was nearly dark now and the rain was still coming down, pattering against the windows and blurring the light of the cars on the street outside. Coraline's father stopped working and made them all dinner. Coraline was disgusted. "Daddy, you've made a recipe again." "It's leek and potato stew with a tarragon garnish and melted Gruyere cheese," he admitted. Coraline sighed. Then she went to the freezer and got out some microwave chips and a microwave mini pizza. "You know I don't like recipes," she told her father, while her dinner went round and round, and the little red numbers on the microwave counted down to 0. "If you tried it, maybe you'd like it," said Coraline's father, but she shook her head. That night Coraline lay awake in her bed. The rain had stopped and she was almost asleep. Then something went tit-tit-tit-tit-tit-tit. She sat up in bed. Something went creak. Coraline got out of bed and looked down the hall, but saw nothing strange. She walked down the hallway. From her parents' bedroom came a low snoring. That was her father, and an occasional sleep muttering. That was her mother. Coraline wondered if she'd dreamed it. Whatever it was, something moved. It was a little more than a shadow, and it scuttled down the darkened hall fast, like a little patch of night. She hoped it wasn't a spider. Spiders made Coraline intensely uncomfortable. The black shape went into the drawing room and Coraline followed it in, a little nervously. The room was dark, the only light came from the hall, and Coraline, who was standing in the doorway, cast a huge and distorted shadow onto the drawing room carpet. She looked like a thin, giant woman. Coraline was just wondering whether or not she ought to turn on the light when she saw the black shape edge slowly out from beneath the sofa. It paused and then dashed silently across the carpet towards the furthest corner of the room. There was no furniture in that corner of the room. Coraline turned on the light. There was nothing in the corner, nothing but the old door that opened onto the brick wall. She was sure that her mother had shut the door, but now it was ever so slightly open. Just a crack. Coraline went over to it and looked in. There was nothing there, just a wall built of red bricks. Coraline closed the old wooden door, turned out the light and went back to bed. She dreamed of black shapes that slid from place to place, avoiding the light until they were all gathered together under the moon. Little black shapes with little red eyes and sharp yellow teeth. They started to sing. We are all small, but we are many. We are many. We are small. We are here before you rose. We will be here when you fall. Their voices were high and whispery and slightly whiny, and they made Coraline feel uncomfortable. Then Coraline dreamed a few commercials, and after that she dreamed of nothing at all. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 1 then of our new book. Hope you're enjoying it so far, and we'll catch up with chapter 2 next time. All right then, bye for now.